Week 10 of the NFL wrapped up a few days ago with the Eagles barely escaping the Green Bay Packers. It was an interesting week and another week where it's kind of so weird to bet on these games at this point in time. You just got to do player props. But week 10 is over. What were your key takeaways from week 10 of the NFL season?
Kind of a little bit of what you're saying. They need to flex some of these primetime games. Like, granted, like you wouldn't have known, like Eagles and Packers sounds decent enough on matchup on paper, so I'm not too mad about that one. But the other game was the Raiders and who else do you remember?
Oh, who the Raiders play?
Yeah.
What was the Giants, man? Let me see. The Raiders played the Broncos. Oh, Thursday night Amazon. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even watch
Yeah.
the game, so I
No,
forgot.
because it was well, no, because it was terrible. I knew about the game and I had no plans. Why would I want to watch the Raiders and the fucking Broncos? Broncos are the most boring good team. I don't even want to call them good because I think they're decent because they've only beat a bunch of bad teams. And they don't do a lot of shit special on offense. But yeah, that game shouldn't have happened. There's just no.
It's not like the Raiders were even hyped up at all like this season. Like we knew everybody knew it was gonna be ass. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you got Geno Smith and then you got what's the head coach name that used to be on Seattle? But still, like you said, they should never be on TV.
Yeah, they shouldn't be on fucking prime time. That's just crazy. So yeah, that was the first one. Next is I think the Falcons are a really interesting team because it's like one game they can seems like they can beat anybody, and the next game it feels like they can lose to anybody. Their defense is showing to kind of like be the strong suit there, but
Front
yeah, they're
four,
just
front four, nice.
yeah. But yeah, they're just like a team. It's crazy. I will say that just like watching them do whatever, just very inconsistent. Um, then next, really the Bills, man. Everything is one game. One game is one game, but losing to a division rival that is having a really awful season and hadn't really looked good in weeks. Uh, and it's also the fact because me and you were talking about it, and granted, I think that the Dolphins ended up putting up 30 points, but they only had like 16 going into the fourth quarter. So I really didn't think like to me, it wasn't necessarily like about the defense. It was about the fact the offense only scored 13 points. Josh Allen didn't look good. Nobody really looked good. And it kind of, underscored the not having great receivers and having to rely too much on literally just Josh Allen and James Cook. So again, it's one game, but it's one of those cause for pause things, I feel like. Then I think also for me, a big thing is like, we've in Drake May has been pretty high up on our list these past couple of weeks, but the Pats just keep showing like they're for real. I think that they're clearly a playoff team, which is crazy. It really seemed like they were just going to be out there in the wilderness ever since Tom left. And they tried a couple different people, and Drake May is really proven to be the one for him so far. So that's been cool to see them kind of like get back to that. Especially because a lot of these really good franchises, when they go bad, it kind of lasts for a little minute. So for it to have only been like maybe 4 years or something like that is not really that bad. Um, and then lastly, just that the Rams as well keep proving that they're legit. San Francisco's dealt with a lot of injuries, but they're still 6-3, and they got dominated by the Rams the other day. So I really like that offense. I think that it's really insane that the NFL let them get Devontae Adams. And when I say that, I mean like no other team decided like, hey, let's try and, go give a bag to Devontae Adams. He's still really good. Uh, but yeah, it's Matthew Stafford having two number one receivers is really crazy. Like he's never really had that because even when they had Puka and Cooper Cup wasn't playing really, and he was on the downside. So like him having this plus Kyron Williams is still a really good back. They're really scary.
Yeah. No, I mean we have a couple of overlaps as well too. But before I even get into the overlaps, yeah, a couple takeaways. No matter how much the Philadelphia Eagles look on offense just struggling. I just feel like they always find ways to win, and their defense looks pretty elite. So they're gonna be a tough out. Jonathan Taylor, I know, we've had what maybe 4 or 5 between 2000 and right now, 4 or 5 running backs went MVP, but he definitely has to have a strong case as well too. And you and I were kind of talking about how, I was basically ready to pray on their downfall, but they found a way to, figure it out over time. And Jonathan Taylor just went crazy that game as well too. So even though Daniel Jones the week before had one of his worst games of the season. This game wasn't necessarily his best, but like I told you, he made the throws, and he got about 53, 55 rushing yards when he needed to. And their team MVP took them to the promised land. So as long as he's healthy, the Colts are going to be a hard out as well too. Like you said with Stafford, man, right now it's like with the Rams being this good, him having his two number ones and a damn good running back and the championship level coach. Right now they're looking scary, and right now I feel like in every poll, like I won't be surprised if Stafford is the favorite for MVP right now. Like you said with the Patriots, man, they're 1.5 games over the Ravens. I mean, over the Bills, and like you said, I wanted to ignore it for such a long time, but I said if they convincingly beat the Buccaneers, I know the Buccaneers scored at first, and then it was kind of back and forth. Then they gonna get my respect. And obviously they beat us and they beat the Buccaneers and their schedule's been relatively pretty weak. They're taking care of the games they need to take care of, and they're winning against above 500 teams. So you got to give credit to them. And Drake May's looking like a top 5 quarterback right now. So they're gonna be another tough out as well too. Um, and the Bills, man, just like you said. Definitely a cause for concern, bro. Like I told you, I didn't really get to watch the second half because my friend came in town as well too. But from what I saw in the first half, and kind of just to harp on what you said, like even though we had 7, 8 starters injured, it's like our defense, that shows you how prepared we are with our depth, right? But your defense can only do but so much. Like you said, the Dolphins had 16 points going into the fourth quarter. Your defense did their job. Now, if you can't go on offense and string along some good plays and get the drives going, get time of possession, of course, when you get back on defense, your players are going to be tired and it's
Yep.
not going to matter anymore. So that was something that was pretty concerning. It just feels like this season is like Josh and that offense, Joe Brady, they come up with a game plan when it's a game that everyone has all their eyes on, i.e. the Ravens, and the week before against the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, what are we doing? But like I said, as much as he can be Superman, when you take away the run game, your receivers don't really look like that. Can't get no separation, but we're just gonna figure out what we have to do because I feel like if we don't get to where we need to get to and make the playoffs, because right now it's gonna be looking tough. We got a tough schedule ahead of us. We still got to play the Patriots in their home. We still got to go against the Buccaneers next week. We got to play the Bengals, which will be a shootout, and Joe Burrow should be back. And then we also got the Eagles towards the end of the year. Like this is gonna be a tough schedule. So we're gonna have to figure it out. I think our defense is gonna pretty much play how it was, but we're gonna have to shake some things up offensively. And I know Josh gets a little antsy when things aren't going his way, but he's gonna have to play extremely clean level of football like Brady of old with that offense when they didn't have those weapons. So we're gonna see what happens. I was making a comment with you as well too. It's obviously you're not gonna trade within your division, but it would have been nice to get some weapons, but even though we didn't get it, next man up. So we'll see what happens. I know our one of our OG wide receivers may be coming back soon. I don't know how much he got left in the tank because he didn't really have a good year last year with the Jaguars and Gabe Davis. Josh Palmer obviously is not a well-known name, but before he got injured, he was at least someone who was somewhat reliable with the route running, especially if it was one-on-one. So we'll see. But I do have a cause for concern. So we'll see what happens